sometimes we don't win. Don't give us a bird, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show, Bet River sponsors. It's time to start. Enjoy the show.
Well, welcome in everyone. It's Betting Weekly Live. It's Friday, the 10th of January. You're with Steve Wyss. I'm delighted to be joined by Simon Holden for today's show. Simon, I noticed you're a bit chirp today, a bit more on the happy side. Does that relate to a certain managerial change at your football club yesterday?
I cannot think what it is, Steve, but I am like a child on Christmas Eve today with excitement. You know, you shouldn't be sorry for happy at anyone's downfall, but a new broom. I've been telling you, I mean, I should release some private info on a weekly basis. I send Steve some of the most awful messages, not directed at him personally, about the Everton situation. I know he tries to keep the phone well away from him when Everton are on, but it's happened. We finally dropped out of through the trapdoor, and Sean Dyche has gone. I mean, the last match he had in charge was a 1-0 defeat at Bournemouth, and it felt like the end, Steve. I mean, I've watched paint dry with more antics than went on there. Everton didn't even have a shot on goal. And the Bournemouth manager, his first line in the press conference was, "We were awful today." And they still won 1-0. So a change had to be made. Very strange on the day of a game, though, Steve. We said yesterday, I cannot think of basically the entire staff walked out of the building 3 hours before a match.
Who do you think is going to come in? Because I've just noticed actually it's been taken down now, the market on Bet Rivers, but all day people have been able to bet on the next manager for Everton market. Jose Mourinho was the initial favourite, then David Moyes. From certain sources, it sounds like a locked-in, done deal. Do you think it will be Moyes? Would that meet with your approval as an Everton fan? Where do they go from here now, rest of the season?
Well, when you expect, you get up, you think it's going to be the special one, and then it's Moyes. It's a little bit like hearing you've got a blind date with one of the Corrs, and you turn up and it's with a bloke, the one who played the drums. It's a bit like that. But I mean, I was initially very disheartened, but then I thought, well, Dyche to Mourinho, it's like the lift going from the basement to the penthouse, isn't it? Dyche to Moyes, it's about floor 20 in a 40-floor hotel, to push the hotel analogy. So I am happy, but I would have been ecstatic if we'd got Jose.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how things develop there with the Everton new manager situation. But welcome in, everyone. Rick Haley, great to see you. Ming Chung, Byron Murrell. Yes, and Etienne, I was delighted with them last week. They did a really good job for me. Do check out Betting Weekly Extra Time, a preview their match at PSG on Sunday on that. Good to see Dave, Heisiad, Duncan as well. Dan Roebuck, always a pleasure to have you in the chat as well. And yes, the Ashley Young versus his son, that was a bit of a letdown from Fergie. Has come under a bit of fire today on the social media. Meslier's goalkeeping coach, always in when I'm on the show. Anthony Hopkins as well. Always a pleasure. Great to see you all. What are you betting on today? We've got tons to discuss. We've got soccer across the board, FA Cup, League One, Bundesliga. We've got our golf handicapper on the show, so it'd be rude not to check out the Sony Open in Hawaii. I've got some exclusive picks from the Director of Content, Nigel Seeley, who has told us what he's going to tell me to tell you what to bet on in the ATP and WTA tennis finals as well. But yeah, and it's a big, massive weekend across in the States, of course, with wildcard weekend in the NFL. Let us know what you are betting on. And if you need a bit of help, check out yesterday's live show with our new special guest, Doug Kazarian, who had a fantastic debut on Betting Weekly Live. So do check that one out. We're so close, by the way, to 7,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you are new to the show, if you've not actually clicked subscribe yet, please do so. We'd love to get over that mark. I mean, it probably won't happen before the end of this show, but you never know, do you, Simon? But thanks so much for
I think it might.
You've been Well, yeah, maybe we need to dangle a carrot, some sort of.
Well, Anthony Hopkins, he must have a lot of mates. Surely he can, bob a few in, threaten to eat half of them if they don't sign up.
De-Icer Dave, that's a tough one last night. Had Peterborough plus 1.5. They were so close to covering that handicap against Everton. I could have done with you out here this week on my street, Dave, because it's absolutely lethal with the ice on my street. I was snowed in on Monday, as you know. Had to put Dan Roebuck replace me last minute on Monday. So, crazy times. But let's get into the betting, Simon, because we've got plenty to discuss. FA Cup. We've got Wycombe Wanderers against Portsmouth and Villa West Ham, an all Premier League clash there. What are your thoughts on the FA Cup in general? We've seen who you're betting on outright on the Instagram.
Oh, yes.
We know I'm not going to reveal it, but you want to check that video out on the Instagram. But what about today? Let's start with the bigger game, Aston Villa West Ham, because
okay,
might fancy a cup run here, Simon. What do you think? The Villa minus 121 on the money line. West Ham are the big dog. First match for Graham Potter, but I mean, he's only had one day of training at best. He can't surely have an impact on this squad straight away, can he?
I think he could actually. I mean, just very, very quickly. I know if people haven't seen that Instagram, but you've gone for the biggest price of the lot, Steve. I'll spare your blushes. And you are you've shortened already, haven't you, your team? So good luck with that one. But one thing that Nigel said yesterday, I don't often agree with the guy, but what I will say is that it's hard enough to win at betting, but when you throw in the question mark about whether a team actually A, wants to even win, B, is that bothered in the long-term interests of the club, might feel it's better not being in the cup, then it clouds the issue for us as bettors trying to make money. And I think the classic question you've got to ask yourself here, Steve, is what is the motivation from Aston Villa? I mean, I can see it from West Ham, team with a great cup pedigree. Will they get that? I mean, it was mentioned again on the show yesterday that we talk about the new manager bounce, don't we? And it is statistically a little bit of a fairy story when you look at it. It doesn't make you a profit doing it. But saying that, Potter, breath of fresh air. I think West Ham will have a go tonight. The key thing is Aston Villa are a far better team. They're going to bring in squad players. Emery's a proud man. He hasn't got a great record in this competition and in cups in general, but will Villa's B team be stronger than a revitalised West Ham? I've got a funny feeling it might be slightly good enough still.
Any bets for this game or not?
I have, yes.
Reel them out. I'm going to start, actually. I've got a bet for this game, right?
Well, then you go first.
And I'm not going to back Aston Villa to win the game because of the reasons that everyone said here. We don't know what their motivation is. But if he does start the game, I think Ollie Watkins to score or assist at minus 103 is a bet because Duran's suspended still. And let's be honest, we don't know who the first choice striker is at the moment at Villa. Is it Duran still? Is it going to be Ollie Watkins? I mean, it's a chance for Watkins again just to remind Emery, I'm maybe the main man here. So I don't think, he's going to lack motivation when he's out there if he does start the game.
Great point.
So that's my bet for this game. Ollie Watkins to score or assist. I like both markets with him because he's not just a goal scorer. But I
quite like Leon Bailey to score at any time. I thought plus 250 was quite good. For a similar thing about motivation, I think he's a guy who's desperate to feature more, isn't he? So, you talk about a club's motivation, but in that, there's 11 people's individual motivation. I thought over 2.5 goals was quite interesting, at plus 170. I do think this is going to be a lively match. I think there's going to be a lot of chances. I think that's a play. What are Villa now? Because they were minus 135 initially for this. Have they been back?
Minus 121. Minus 121.
Yeah. For all the motivational quality. I don't know about you, Steve. Do you like to bet in any of these games when you've got a slight doubt as to the club's motivation?
No, I don't like betting on domestic cups at all. Full stop, to be honest with you. I'd rather play out on the props and the players.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know, even like a semi-final, I'm not a big fan of it. Although by then it's a lot more clear what sort of intentions are of the teams. I think the overs is maybe not a bad idea. There's a few like in the overs here. Ming Chung likes the overs.
Over
Just looking
2.5,
back here.
yeah.
Adam Thompson says West Ham are too big. Villa FA Cup record is shocking. The thing with Potter, I mean, you know, can he? You know, I don't want to be, you know, pun intended here, but you know, he can't just wave that magic wand straight away. Literally, you know, one day in, he can't. But there's no doubt about it. For West Ham, this is probably going to be the priority competition for the rest of the season. They're not going to go down in the Premier League, are they? So he might as well go for a cup run.
But I do think you're right. The way to play these is these individual prop bets. So I'm going to go with that Bailey to score at any time bet.
Okay, yeah. Leon Bailey's plus 155 to score or assist, by the way, if you prefer that market as well. The other game, I'll be honest with you, I took one look at this and I thought, you know, this is where you need to know where the motivation of the teams is. And
even more
against
so,
Portsmouth. I mean, both teams really. Nigel made a good point yesterday with the Sheffield United game. Does either team really want to win this? Wycombe are fighting promotion. Portsmouth are battling relegation in the Championship. It's one of those. If you get knocked out here, it doesn't really matter, does it? So this, for me, just screamed no bet. I don't know if you found an angle there.
Oh, yeah. Well, it is the question for you. What is the motivation strongest? Is it for the team who are trying to get out of the whatever in the Championship or the team that are flying? Ironically, I think the team that are facing relegation might be even more motivated to play well, just to get a win and get some positivity. But Portsmouth did the double over Wycombe last year in the league. But this Wycombe side at home, Steve, is rolling everybody over. And Portsmouth away from home are a real rock-solid relegation form. So looking at it that way, you know, Wycombe, they'll be smarting from getting beaten at Huddersfield the other night, won't they? So they'll want to react to that. I actually think Wycombe are a play in this.
You actually having the team that's in the lower division. I mean, they're plus 110 now. You think that's a good price?
Yeah, for the simple reason that their home form, their goal score. I thought over 2.5 goals was interesting in this as well at minus 150, or it was when I looked this morning.
Fair enough.
And
I mean,
score.
minus 143 on over 2.5 goals.
I'll have a bit of Wycombe and over 2.5, definitely. I mean,
I'm just looking back through
the top of a league versus the bottom of the other league. It's not a massive gulf, is it?
Well, no, exactly. I did say that to be a little bit sensational.
Yeah, I know that.
When you know, it's this case of lower division.
I wasn't going to go home or anything. Well, I am sat home, so there was never an option.
There's probably 5 places between the two teams right now? 6 places along those lines, and they did face each other last season.
But they do carry wealth warnings. You're right. They do carry wealth warnings these games because you know with so much football to bet on, so many Premier League games to bet on when they come back, and other leagues. You're never ever before a Premier League matchup going to say to yourself, "Is one team not trying?" That never enters the equation. But it just sneaks into your mind, doesn't it, in these games? And that you know.
Yeah. Just looking back through the comments, loads of them. Florence Nightingale, you really are so concerned about our health status and stuff. But Will White is in Australia. He should be back on, I think, next week, like Nigel said there. Ray Burt, good to see you. Brian as well. Interesting how you got the nickname De-Icer Dave. Let's have a look back now there. West Ham plus 1 on the Asian handicap, says Brian. And Ray fancies the West Ham win. Quite a few comments saying that West Ham are too big in that particular match. Dan Robert Potter's first game in charge in the FA Cup was with Swansea, and they won away at Villa. Could lightning strike twice? That's quite an interesting coincidence. There, Meslier's goalkeeping coach. West Ham too big, and the players are want to impress. I suspect quite a lot of people liking this dog, West Ham, at Aston Villa today.
Just urging a bit of caution, Steve. Villa are a very, very good football team. Let's not forget that for all the West Ham angles. And they're a very, very good football team at home.
They are. And this is why 89% of the money's on Aston Villa, by the way, along with 87% of the tickets. 95% of the money's on the over for this game. That's not a surprise. So, you know, both teams to score, I think, will be quite a popular bet in this instance as well. So quite a lot of the public, it's kind of weird. The favourite will often get quite a bit of public money. The dog might get maybe a few more of the tickets as the match approaches. Just looking at Duncan is a Wycombe fan. He says, I can't say I'm very optimistic about our chances tonight. Things have gone a bit south in recent games and we've lost a couple of players. But then we've got other comments saying confident Pompey won't be interested in this. It's what I said earlier. I think both teams would not mind losing the game. First goal might win. Like if you go behind, you think, oh, I might as well just give up on this now, play it out. And if you get ahead, the first goal could be very, very important in this particular game. Anyway, good luck, whatever you're taking in the FA Cup this weekend and today. It can really pay dividends if you do your research on domestic cups. I've known that down the years. The problem is it can take absolutely forever for you to actually get the information that you need. But it is well worth an edge if you can find an edge. Let's go to some more significant games on the card. We've got... I can't actually get the data to work. I can't get the graphics to work on the screen. So we're moving to
frozen.
I don't know what's happened, but there's a problem in the background here. But we've got Nantes against Monaco and Auxerre against Lille. I can reel off the prices. Nantes are plus 390, Monaco minus 141 on the money line, Auxerre plus 360, Lille minus 137. My best bet of the day in the soccer is definitely on Monaco just to win this match against Nantes today at minus 141. Yeah. The simple thing, I just think they're a far better side than Nantes. And
right, Steve's having a few problems there now. So his best bet of the day is Monaco to win. Probably because Monaco have not lost to Nantes in their last 11 league meetings. Another market to look at, maybe over 2.5 goals. Monaco, very attacking team. This could potentially be a goal fest. Some of my notes. And both teams to score, yes. So Monaco, a very aggressive team, but could be just... let Nantes in for maybe a sort of 3-1, 4-1. So I know when Steve gets back, he will back me up. There we've got, he's back.
I am back.
He's back.
I am back. I don't actually know what happened there. I thought the software crashed on me.
We were fine, honestly.
Anyway, yeah. What are you taking? What are you taking in the French games, Sam?
Monaco all the way. Not
Monaco,
lost in 11 to Nantes, Steve, would you believe?
Really? And yeah, there is a good head-to-head there. The Nantes manager is under huge pressure. He stormed out of a press conference last weekend, and they got a good draw at Lille, but I just think it's a ticking time bomb. It's a little bit maybe similar to Sean Dyche at Everton. Eventually, you just know there's going to be a sacking here. He's going to have to get some really good results to turn things around. He can probably get away with losing to Monaco because it's a tough game, but minus 141, I thought that's a big price on the money line. I thought it was a really big price, actually.
Yeah, definitely.
The
I'll have a bit of
other
that.
match, Auxerre-Lille. Lille are the better team, but Auxerre, quite a plucky side, Auxerre. Good on the counter-attack. And the lean I would have on this game is both teams score, yes, at minus 148. Because Auxerre don't lack for balls, if you know what I mean. They'll give it a go, but Lille do have a lot more quality if they can turn it. Lille struggled last week to break down a defensive team. They should get a little bit more space in this particular fixture. Auxerre, Lille, is this a match that you're targeting, Simon?
It certainly is. I've got 3 plays on this. Lille,
3 plays.
Push the research, but Lille have a fantastic record against Auxerre. So I thought that the Lille on the outright over 2.5 goals. Like you said, both teams can certainly show their defensive frailties and push the attack. And again, like you, both teams to score. Yes, was my third selection. So I think this could be quite a good game.
I think it'd be a good game. I think both teams score yeses. Minus 148. Those aren't terrible odds at all, really. A lot of people love betting on something like that. Lille's defense can be a bit patchy at times. Just looking back through some of the comments here, Byron says Lazio moneyline the best play of the night for him. We're going to get through to that game in a minute, actually. Dan Roebuck, Potter was sacked at Chelsea after losing to Emery's Villa. There's also this some funny coincidences here, isn't there, with the Graham Potter situation?
Yeah.
Byron says, be careful that Monaco have drawn at Nantes. There was one crazy match, actually, Byron. Was it 3-3? I swear down that match could have ended 6-6. It was the most crazy game I've ever seen along those lines. Nantes at the minute, though, I'm struggling to see where they might even get a goal because they do lack teeth, to be honest with you. Monaco are a side that I don't always get right, but they didn't play last weekend, of course, in the league. They were involved in the Trophée de Champion. They lost against PSG 1-0. Yeah, just look at Justin. We are going to talk about a little bit of tennis towards the end of the show. I've got some official picks from our director of content, Nigel Seeley, but it'll be mostly soccer and a bit of golf as well. Reese is concerned that they're coming off that game against PSG. I wouldn't be overly concerned. I mean, that was over in Qatar, and it's good to be tested, isn't it? Really, in some ways, Reese. This is a lot worse of an opponent than PSG. They need the result as well. So I do like Monaco here for my best bet of the evening. Time Monaco under 3.5, says Benny. But yeah, I think so, because I think win to 0 could be on the cards for Monaco here. The way Nantes are going to play the game is going to try and park the bus, even though they're at home, keep it tight, maybe get something from a set piece. The only way then the match opens up, or Nantes will open up, is if they start to fall behind. But I don't think they're going to offer much in general for the game. There's the Bundesliga returning this evening. This is probably the match that most of the eyes are going to be on. Borussia Dortmund against Bayer Leverkusen. This is an interesting one, actually. Dortmund, a dog at home, which is, I mean, they've actually played quite well in some big games at home. Plus 215 now, Simon. They're on the drift. Leverkusen plus 114. Over 3.5 goals is at plus 128. I can tell you now, 74% of the money's on Leverkusen and 72% of the tickets. Just 67% of the money is on the over market here. So this is less of a convincing one with the public in general. Kind of a few split opinions going across the board. Dortmund, are you a yay or a nay with them this season? They divide opinion. Which camp are you generally in?
I think I'm in the nay. I haven't gone on the outright with this. I've gone for the. I've got a little prop bet, which I'll throw at you. Patrick Schick to score any time.
It's a bet that I've had before.
Dortmund's defence there.
Well, there's the. Do we know what the latest status is with the Victor Boniface? Is I don't know what his status is now, but he was injured at the back end of 2024. I don't know whether he's back or not. We have to see the lineups. But Patrick Schick is one of them players. He just scores goals, doesn't he? He knows where the back.
I mean, the other one, I thought both teams to score was an interesting bet tonight. At I think about -167 earlier. I thought that was a bit tasty.
One thing I'll say, and Dan Roebuck, if he's still here, will back me up on this, is that January is often the month when you want to be betting on the unders in Germany, often because of the weather. Simple as that. And it is pretty cold out there. I was thinking about blindly just going on under 3 Asian goals, not because for no real reason apart from the trends, really, and also that it's the first match back competitive for both teams after the winter break. I think it's a kind of a huge matchup, quite a bit of respect between the two sides. Maybe this is one of those games that people look at it and think, oh, it's going to be a brilliant game, 2-2 sort of draw, 3-3 draw, whatever, and maybe it doesn't deliver. I've just seen it before where everyone's banging on about it. They'll return the Bundesliga, it's going to be great, and we get like a 1-1 draw, a 2-1 win somewhere. What
about balancing that off? And I get that, where you build yourself up for an exciting game and it's like a balloon, like slowly going out instead watching. But both these sides' defenses are vulnerable. Certainly Dortmund are looking not what they were last year. I just thought both teams to score, but I get your thing. It might be a standoff, cold night, boring 1-0.
Let's see how it goes. I'm not big on this game in any fashion. It's one of those I'll watch it. I think it's a fantastic watch. Again, if in doubt and you want to bet on a game, then sometimes the player props is the best way, actually. especially for a bit of pizza money. Just looking through some of the comments now. Mezier's goalkeeping coach says not need to take some risks. He fancies them to score, but also being exploited at the back. And Benny, we need that like button. We need the subscribers. We need to get to 7,000 subscribers. Unfortunately, I don't even know where Kit Kat is today. I've not really seen him much. He's probably sleeping upstairs somewhere. But you never know. He might make an appearance. Reese says Dortmund struggle at the back. Don't trust their defense at all. Like you said, Simon, that's the problem. Sometimes they're terrible. The structure's terrible at the back. Sometimes they play with a lot of passion and a lot of. And the manager, I think, now is much more of a people person in terms of a crowd person. Gets them fired up, but he doesn't have much of a structural game plan. Looking through there, Ray's predicting a late arrival of Shakespeare. That very much could happen. Duncan says it's a traffic weekend all round.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dan Roebuck, last season definitely was an unders month in January 24, and it can be weather dependent. I mean, there's certainly a few. I reckon if you betted under 2.5 goals blind in every single German Bundesliga game this weekend, I think you'll have a profit. I reckon. Right,
so that's a blanket system. Just go for the unders.
I reckon. I didn't really talk about it too much on the Betting Weekly Extra Time show this week, although I did suggest one match for the under. I really like the under in the St. Pauli game. But I'm just looking at the matchups now. The Heidenheim one tomorrow, I think that could definitely be an under. Mainz Bochum could very well be under as well. I mean, the goal line for Gladbach Bayern Munich's over 3.5 minus money. I'm not sure I'd be taking that. Augsburg, Stuttgart as well. That could be another match. Everyone's expecting goals and they don't come. So be interesting to see how you get on if you betted on under 2.5 blind every game. You'd only probably need 4 to hit and you'd be in profit. Yeah. Maybe even 3 to hit and you might get a profit on some of the bigger ones. I might give that a try actually. Let's move on to folks. Let's move on to Lazio Como. Someone suggested this is the best bet of the day already.
It's my best bet of the day in this game.
Is it the same bet, Simon, or not? Lazio minus 124 now on the money line. Como plus 340. Over 2.5 goals is at minus 103. There's been some money for the overs in this game. I've got to say, Como have impressed me this season a bit. I don't really have too much of an opinion on this game, but you've got your best bet.
My best bet is Lazio to score over 1.5 goals at minus 145.
Right. Now, so you fancy them to, I mean, does that suggest you fancy them to win? Or is it the defence that you're worried about? You'd rather just trust their offence?
No, well, there's a little bit of that. I mean, the old Immobile, whatever his name is, who doesn't move around
Immobile.
a lot. That's him, yeah, Immobile. Yeah, I think he's a cracking player. I think he'll have a big night tonight. Who's the other guy? Philippe Anderson. Lazio's XG would certainly support this bet, Steve. Certainly would. Big style. I think Lazio will really put on a performance tonight against Como, folks. This could be a 3-4-0 job. So, yeah.
They are a newly promoted team.
The cracking price. I think you can get stuck in at that.
I did watch the Rome derby last weekend, and it went card crazy. I think there was 12 cards in the end. I had no idea how Lazio didn't score. They actually looked.
Oh, they played great, didn't they?
The better side than Roma. They're definitely the better footballing side than Roma right now. Obviously, didn't get the result. I mean, Lazio are a funny team. They really are. They got absolutely battered by Inter. But I've seen them play some very, very good soccer this season. So I think they can be inconsistent. But if you get them on a good night, they certainly should get you a couple of goals. Lazio, yeah, for me, a tricky side. But you like them on the team total over 1.5 minus 145. There's a La Liga also returns this weekend. It's an interesting card. You're not lacking action tonight if you like soccer. Rayo Vallecano against Celta de Vigo. And this is a proper pick'em, the genuine pick'em. Both sides are now plus 175 on the money line, and the tie is plus 195. Over 2.5 goals is at plus 117. Under 2.5 minus 155. This is a seriously close betting heat. I personally can't split the teams either. I wouldn't be surprised if the Thailand's here at plus 195. You got a strong opinion on this one, Simon, or are you going to swerve?
I've got a strong opinion on what might be the bet. I marked it down. I've read 10 detailed previews of this from people that I respect, and it's 5-5. So if you want a pick a match, then it's this tonight. Now, my logic is if 10 great minds are 5-5, I don't know, should the draw be the biggest price of the three? That's always an argument anyway, isn't it, in tight games? Why is the draw a bigger price? Because it's the most under bet usually, isn't it? People want a definitive answer. Any real skin in the game, but I just could see this being a 1-1. It's been a really good game, actually. In fact, there's some cracking games tonight, isn't there?
There is.
And Wycombe. No, only joking, Duncan. So yeah, I'm gonna for the draw. Draw should not be the biggest price of the three.
I like the tie here at plus 195. I actually think Celta de Vigo are the actually better soccer team, for those who know what I mean there. But Rayo Vallecano on their day can play. They're not a team I bet on very often. Their matches, Rayo Vallecano, inconsistent, tough to get a read on. Celta de Vigo are definitely more my sort of side. So we were talking about Immobile in the last match. He's actually in Turkey now, by the way, Simon. Just to let you know about that one. I think you might be getting mixed up with the other target man they've got up front at the moment, Lazio. Marcos Alonso over 1.5 shots, says Jan Phillip. Welcome into chat, Jan. Great to see he's on the free kicks. So that is at plus 600. That's an interesting. Marcos Alonso. There you go. That's a prop play which could pay big. A guy on free kicks, and he just needs shots. I love that one. I love that angle. Those are the sort of angles we really want. Yeah, love that massively. Let's check out now. Now, I got some messages from our director of content, Nigel Seeley, today about, and we've been talking about the tennis on the live shows all week. And it's, of course, the Australian Open is in operation soon. And do check out the Game Bet and Match episode, which might already be released on the channel. I don't know. And also the WTA preview with Rory and Nigel. But Nigel sent me some sort of message today about who he likes in these finals. ATP Adelaide, Felix Auger-Aliassime against Sebastian Korda. Nigel says it's a 50-50 call. And he says so far it's been an easy route for both players. It's who fancies it before the Australian Open. So Nigel can't split either player in that final. For the Auckland final, he believes that the hungrier player is the younger lad here, Zizou Bergs. Gael Monfils is 39 years old, and he likes Bergs to win this final. He ended the season well, has been brilliant all week, and he's got the younger legs on him. There's 13 years difference between these two players. So Zizou Bergs against Gael Monfils. Nigel Seeley, our director of content, does advise him to win the game. Bergs plus 130.
The younger man.
Yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts? Gael Monfils, I mean, I actually thought he was closer to 50 than 40. I was surprised he was actually only 39.
He's had a lot of stress, that kid, hasn't he? Yeah.
Australian Open, will you be betting on that, Simon?
Well, judges, you know, why do you need to work out a tennis bet when you got those three guys, Rory and Nigel and Mr. Calvert himself on your to stick in your back pocket? So I shall be watching and betting accordingly. In fact, you know, before I actually interviewed Sean a while ago, and it started me betting on tennis again. I hadn't done for years. It's one of those spots that I just left. But, you know, be a judge of judges. You got three there. So, yeah, I'll be watching and betting accordingly. But Nigel said one of the games was 50-50 today, didn't he, Steve?
The quarter game. Yeah.
Yeah, I had it a lot closer than that, to be honest. But we'll go with that 50-50. Yeah, so we'll go with the young guy to beat the 65-year-old tonight.
Yeah, 65. I'm just looking now at some of the comments here. Adam Thompson, biggest FA Cup upset of the weekend. He reckons Bristol Rovers have got a chance at Ipswich plus 900. Salford to score first goal away at City plus 700. I wonder what price Salford are just to score a goal at City. Must be plus money, I reckon. I'll have a look before the show's done there. Duncan Evan, think I'll be on Bergs as well. Monfils looks like he's knackered, and well, that's no real surprise, is it? He's put a lot of effort in to get to that final. Here's Shakespeare. Yeah. Shakespeare's in. Buffalo Bills -8.5 over Denver Broncos all day long. I actually do believe that there's a massive golfing class between those two sides, and I think yesterday Doug did say the Bills as well in that particular match. Dan Robert, Coventry to beat Sheffield Wednesday -112. Wednesday going to rotate, and do tune into the TV coverage outside of the UK because he's going to be on commentary duty.
Fantastic. He's leaving the workshop where he's based now, Steve, to venture out to commentate. If you haven't seen the FA Cup Instagram video, it's fantastic. But where in the world is Dangerous Dan Roebuck? It looks like he's taking over the TV show Repair Shop from Jay Blades, stood in that workshop there. Fantastic. But yeah, we'll check that game out.
The Instagram FA Cup video is a really good one, actually. I think 5 handicappers, giving the FA Cup winner outright. My pick is already through. He's already in the hat for the next round.
And shortened
so,
price.
You know, I'm hoping that I can get a bit of a that's on Fulham, by the way. I'm hoping we can get a bit of a nice draw for them in the next round. I
won't give away who I picked, Steve, but what I will say is it caused me physical and mental pain to record it. So take the hint. I must think they're a good bet.
Yeah, I wonder who that is then.
Yeah.
Benny says Nigel is the king of tennis bets. He's been on fire this week. Actually, yeah, big shout out to our director of content yesterday. He had a great Bow team to score yes winner in the FA Cup, cashed after 33 minutes. It was a fantastic goal from Watford. It was one of the best ways to bring in a bet, actually, in the soccer way. If a worldie ever actually kind of, well, not a worldie, but a Galazzo, let's say, wins you a bet, it's a great feeling. But that was, the director of content had a fantastic day on the show yesterday. Question for Shakespeare there about the handicap on the money line with the favourites. I think Shakespeare put it up on a comment yesterday or the other day about general betting stakes on the wildcard round. Mr. Wipeout, welcome into the chat. Good to see you there. I think he's on about a third set retirement, actually, from one of the tennis. There's all sorts of terms and conditions you've got to be careful with the tennis. I got sidetracked here because there's also 2 finals on the ladies that Nigel gave me some information about. And this is an all-American clash, the Adelaide final, Jessica Pegula against Madison Keys. Again, he says this is a 50-50 call, but he would edge towards Pegula, but no bet for this match, says Nigel. The Hobart final is Kessler against Mertens, 2 players in different stages of their career. Kessler is unseeded, Mertens is seeded number 2. In the last, he reckons an unseeded player has won this tournament in 20 of the last 30 runnings of it, and he is going to take the American in this game. So do take that one. McCartney Kessler plus 160. Like Nigel said, 2 players at different stages of their career. But it's all getting really, really exciting now. Towards the Australian Open, Nigel, Sean, Rory have been doing the content today. It's going to be released. It might already be released on the channel. But Nigel says, do give Kessler... McCartney Kessler, is the bet for this final at plus 160. Okay.
I suppose there are parallels with the FA Cup theory about motivation in that, you know, you're playing in a week before one of the big 4 weeks, aren't you? So like Nigel's saying, who's going to be wanting to be busting a gut to win? Who's got an eye on the Aussies? So again, you have to bring that slightly into your thoughts.
Yeah. Shakespeare likes all the favourites against the spread. Again, to reiterate, this weekend in the wild card playoffs. Mandeep, seeing any Liga 2 recommendations? I can't really focus on that league anymore, unfortunately, Mandeep. But usually under is not usually a bad bet in that league. Somewhere along the line, just check somewhere, maybe in the north of France, which is quite cold. The players probably don't fancy it, and you can get a nice, easy 0-0 or 1-0 somewhere there. Now, our golf handicappers on the show, so we've saved the best till last. Sony Open in Hawaii. We'll touch on the futures market soon, but you got some 2-ball bets for us here, Simon, out there. 3-ball, sorry, not 2-ball. List them off, and while I get the latest odds from Bet Rivers.
I certainly will. So we're going to play a treble here, a parlay. So 2 of these go off at the same time, but don't worry, they're not in the same group. One of them setting off at the 10th. It's a 2T start. So at 12:50 Eastern time, we've got Harry Hall. He is plus 105. Now, very quickly, Harry Hall. We did a video, me and Steve, for 4 players to look out for at the beginning of the PGA Tour. Yeah. Harry Hall was one of them. I hope people remembered and were on this week at plus 66. He is joint leader after round 1. So we're going to take him in his 3-ball plus 105. Little Brian Harman, he's sitting there a couple of shots off the lead. He's plus 225. He's off at 12:50 as well, but he's off starting at the 10th. And lastly, the Maverick himself, Maverick McNeely, plus 120. It is a parlay that plays plus 13.65. So I think it's got a massive chance. And in the outright after round 1, second round's getting underway in about an hour. It has to be horses for courses. Russell Henley has the most terrific record in this tournament, consistently up there year after year after year. And I think he's going to go very, very close. And that is way, way too big, plus 1,200. Matsuyama won last week. I think a bit of the old mental letdown, bit of fatigue will set in. I can't see him winning this week. It's a very different golf course. But Russell Henley has the perfect all-round accuracy game. And plus 1,200, trust me, on Sunday night is going to look very big indeed.
Yeah, I want to congratulate you, actually, Simon, for that brilliant winner.
Oh, no, Steve. No.
Before. You put your neck on the line, to be fair, for that one. I know he was the favourite, but you put your proper neck on the line. And he delivered handsomely in the end.
Scotty. Yeah, well.
Yeah.
There's 3 or 4 times a year when you have to bet like you mean it, as they say. And that, I'm afraid, was one of them.
Yeah, just to say, this outright market here, Russell Henley at 12-1 there. It's an interesting field. It's quite a nice course actually out there in Hawaii, isn't it? Often
it's great.
Quite low.
Yeah. Much more difficult than last week.
Oh yeah, a lot more than that. But
I'd say what we've been asked to mention, Steve, is of course the indoor league began this week.
Oh,
the brand new high-tech AI hitting into the screen. Yeah. Bet Rivers will be offering prices on it. Now, I watched the first one, or the recording of it. It's on at 2:00 in the morning here. So I watched it the following day without knowing the result. I struggled towards the end to work out what the rules were. And I know at least 2 of the players were struggling. So all I would say for betting purposes, I would advise, let's let this settle down for 3, 4, 5 weeks. Let's work out exactly what is going on, who's taken to it and who hasn't. Because, yes, they've got the full-size green and they've got everything set up, but it isn't golf. It is a version of it. Some players are going to love it, some not. But in the long term, I mean, this is going to be around for at least 3 years. And surely technology being what it is, this is the way forward for a kind of sideshow of golf. On a quiet night, I think it's going to be massive betting in the long term. But for me, I'd hang on a bit. But Bet Rivers are offering prices, folks. The next one is next Tuesday.
Yeah, I had a look at this Tiger Golf League, and what I was wondering is what if I know they're pros, it shouldn't happen. What if someone genuinely shanked a shot or thinned a chip straight into the crowd? Like, they wouldn't be expecting it. It's not like when you're out there in the on the course itself where you can maybe protect yourself a little bit better. What if, I could just see an injury happening somewhere along the line. That'd be a bit of a freak one. But, Tiger Golf League.
You'll be safer watching that than you are at St Andrews on the old course.
You would be probably. Yeah, you would be.
I wonder if they shout 4 and it comes on the screen and people think, oh, he's doing it on the screen. Then it smashes them in the head. Let's hope that doesn't happen, obviously. But, those of a sick sense of humour may
Simon M there is on about Como. He's been impressed with them recently. And this is just coming in now that the one of the biggest bets of the day actually is on Como. On the
interesting.
plus a half Asian handicap, nearly $6,000 there at plus 107. Also a big bet on Celta Vigo, draw no bet, nearly $10,000 at minus 110 on the Celta Vigo draw no bet. So two big bets coming in there on the soccer today. Notable streams that you can watch: Nantes, Monaco, Auxerre, Lille. You can watch Rodez against Troyes in French Ligue 2. You can watch the La Liga game as well. You can watch the tennis, of course. All those finals that I mentioned there, 3 of those finals, the Monfils match, the Madison Keys game, and McCartney Kessler, who Nigel has suggested could pull up a shock against Elise Mertens. There's a house special from Bet Rivers in the Bundesliga match. Borussia Dortmund against Leverkusen. Both teams to score and over 3.5 goals at plus 150. So I've said before, if you like these house specials, get on them, because the raised odds offer tremendous value if you like the bet. Simple as that. Dan Roebuck says, bet every dog in the Tiger Golf League. And he's 1-1 already. That's the team nature of it, isn't it? So
what a strike rate.
Yeah, that's Dan's strategy. He's got off to a good start. Simon reckons that it could be an under game in Rayo versus Celta. Seems like there's a lot of people getting involved today, betting across the board, and also for NFL wildcard weekend. And Shakespeare, will close with him. He's not buying the angle that the Chargers will be affected adversely with the fires. He thinks if they lose, they will lose on the
doesn't he write
field.
well? It's beautiful. If they lose on the field. I love it.
Right. Okay. Well, that's absolute pleasure as always, Simon. We've got through a lot of stuff there. Thanks everyone who joined live or on demand. Remember, if you are new here, we'd be greatly appreciative of any new subscribers and any likes as well. Leave your comments, even if it's on demand later. But best of luck, whatever you are taking this weekend in whatever sport. It's a huge weekend of sporting action. It's a huge day of sporting action. And Simon, we've got through nearly 50 minutes here, but it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, as always, Steve. Good luck, everybody. And remember, when in Rome, bet Lazio.
Yeah, take care, y'all. Remember to gamble responsibly. We'll see you next week on Betting Weekly Live. And remember, check out those Aussie Open previews, which are going to come up on the channel very, very soon.
Yeah.